NFL Backlash. Fans are ditching Bad Bunny for a rival halftime show. What happens when the biggest sporting event in America suddenly gets competition from its own audience? For decades, the Super Bowl halftime show has been untouchable, a cultural moment, a ratings monster, a stage so powerful it can resurrect careers overnight. But now, with an all-American alternative rising just weeks before kickoff, something feels different. This isn't a joke like the Puppy Bowl. It isn't harmless counterprogramming. It's ideological, strategic, and potentially disruptive. A secret lineup, a growing rebellion, and millions of viewers who might be ready to switch streams. But the real story isn't who's performing. It's why this is happening at all. The rebellion that sparked it. This didn't begin with music. It began with frustration. Over the past few years, a growing segment of fans has quietly voiced dissatisfaction with the direction of the NFL. Not with the football itself, not with the athletes, but with what they believe the league represents culturally. Some feel the National Football League has drifted away from what they consider traditional American values. Others argue the halftime show has become more about social messaging than entertainment. And when that sentiment builds long enough, someone eventually monetizes it. That's where Turning Point USA enters the picture. TPUSA didn't frame this as an attack. They framed it as an alternative, a choice. If fans don't like the halftime show, here's another option. Watch something else. Watch something patriotic. Watch something aligned with your worldview. It's a subtle but powerful repositioning. Instead of boycotting the Super Bowl entirely, they're offering a detour, a halftime escape route. And psychologically, that's far easier for viewers. You're not abandoning football, you're just switching during the break. But here's the strategic brilliance. This isn't just about one broadcast. It's about proving that audiences can be fragmented on command. And if that fragmentation works even once, the ripple effect could be massive. But the gamble wasn't just launching a rival show. The gamble was doing it in total secrecy. And that's where things get interesting. The secret lineup strategy. 2 weeks out, no confirmed names. That's either genius marketing or a serious problem. Public relations reps have confirmed that multiple performers are locked in, but when pressed for names, silence. Outlets like TMZ were told fans would simply have to tune in to find out. And that silence is doing something powerful. It's forcing speculation. Immediately, names began circulating. Kid Rock was the first many fans mentioned. A longtime outspoken critic of mainstream institutions, a natural fit for a patriotic counter-event. Then came Jason Aldean, whose recent controversies already placed him in cultural crossfire. And John Rich, who has openly aligned himself with conservative causes. But here's the thing, speculation creates ownership. When audiences start guessing the lineup, they become invested. They debate, they defend, they anticipate. And anticipation is engagement fuel. Still, secrecy carries risk. If the lineup underdelivers, the backlash will be immediate. Because the mystery has inflated expectations. When you tease multiple performers without names, fans imagine superstars, not mid-tier acts, not safe picks. And in today's culture climate, every artist who steps on that stage is making a statement, whether they intend to or not. Which raises a bigger question. Could this actually hurt the NFL? Because that's the real battleground. Could they actually dent Super Bowl ratings? Let's be clear, the Super Bowl is a ratings titan. Pulling viewers away from it isn't just ambitious, it's borderline unthinkable. Year after year, it dominates American television. The halftime show alone draws global attention. So how could a rival stream even compete? Here's how. frictionless access. This alternative broadcast isn't hiding behind paywalls. It's free. Streaming simultaneously on YouTube, Rumble, X, and distributed through networks like Real America's Voice and The Daily Wire. That's deliberate. It removes every barrier to defection. One click. That's all it takes. And here's where psychology kicks in. Even if only 5 to 10% of viewers switch during halftime as a symbolic protest, that's millions of people. Not because they hate football, but because they want to feel aligned with something. This becomes less about entertainment quality and more about identity reinforcement. Historically, counterprogramming hasn't threatened the NFL. The Puppy Bowl didn't fracture audiences. MTV's experiments didn't shake the ratings empire. But those weren't ideological movements. This one is. And ideological movements are harder to measure because they're emotional, and emotions drive loyalty. But ratings aren't the only metric that matters here. There's something bigger unfolding: the parallel media ecosystem. This isn't just a halftime show, it's a media ecosystem flex. Look at where it's streaming: YouTube, Rumble, X, conservative-backed networks. That's not random distribution, that's an entire parallel infrastructure. Over the past decade, America's media landscape has fractured into ideological lanes: news, commentary, podcasts, social platforms. Now entertainment is joining that split. And if this alternative halftime show pulls even modest success, it sends a powerful signal. You don't need legacy networks to compete. You just need a committed audience. For the NFL, that's not immediately catastrophic, but it's symbolic. Because the Super Bowl used to be one of the last truly unified cultural moments in the country. Left, right, center, everyone watching the same show. Now, that unity is eroding. If this becomes normalized, if counter halftime events become annual, we could see the Super Bowl shift from shared spectacle to segmented experience. And once segmentation becomes profitable, it rarely reverses. Which brings us to the artists, because stepping onto that stage isn't just about performing, it's about positioning. The artist's risk. For any major performer considering this stage, the decision isn't simple. On one hand, the audience is passionate, loyal, vocal. For someone like Kid Rock, this type of platform reinforces brand consistency. It aligns perfectly with his public persona. But for others, the calculus is different. Appearing in a politically framed event can narrow future opportunities: corporate partnerships, award shows, festival bookings, industry alliances. In today's hyper-connected climate, every appearance carries long-term implications. That's why the secrecy matters so much. Because once names are announced, the cultural temperature spikes instantly. Supporters will celebrate, critics will mobilize, social media will ignite, and the artists become part of a larger narrative whether they plan to or not. So the lineup reveal isn't just promotional, it's explosive. But here's the twist. This might not even be about superstar talent. It might be about proof of concept. And that changes everything. A one-time protest or a permanent rival? What if this isn't just a reaction? What if it's a prototype? If the alternative halftime show draws strong digital numbers, even without celebrity A-listers, it proves something powerful. A parallel entertainment lane is viable. And once viability is proven, expansion follows. Bigger sponsors, bigger artists, bigger production budgets. Imagine a future where every Super Bowl halftime has two major streams competing simultaneously. Two cultural narratives unfolding side by side. That would fundamentally reshape how national events function. No longer one shared stage, but two Americas watching two different performances. And that's the deeper story here, because this isn't about music. It's about fragmentation. It's about audience power. It's about whether unified cultural moments still exist, or whether everything, even halftime, now comes with sides. The mystery of who performs might grab headlines, But the real story is what happens when audiences decide they have options. This all-American alternative isn't just counterprogramming, it's a test. A stress test for cultural unity, a challenge to legacy dominance, and a signal that entertainment itself is becoming ideologically divided. Whether millions switch streams or barely anyone moves the needle, something has already shifted. Because the Super Bowl used to be one moment where everyone watched together. Now the question isn't who's on stage, it's which stage you choose to watch.
Thank you, my viewer. I hope you keep it here on my channel for more discoveries on all the celebrities' untold journeys. Like, comment, and subscribe on Hajara Rama channel. Thank you so much.